Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole and this channel is all about health, wellness, and designing your dream life. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through my typical leg day warm-up. So first things first, I want you guys to understand why it's so important to do a warm-up in the first place. Why can't you just jump straight into doing your workout? Why is a warm-up important? Well, if you're young and you're healthy, you don't have any aches and pains or joint problems or anything like that going on, then yeah, you probably could just jump straight into your workout. But I really don't advise that. Why? Because you want to set yourself up to avoid injury in the future. You want to be developing good habits now so that as you get older, you're not skipping your warm-up routine because it had just become a habit for you. Now, if you're like me and you're pushing 30 or even older, then you know that you can just sleep funny and wake up being in pain. And if that's the case, then you definitely need to be doing a warm-up. Doing a warm-up is going to be super important to making sure that you don't have an injury. So there's 3 components of a good warm-up. The first is that it actually warms up your muscles, as in bringing blood flow to the muscles without being fatiguing. You don't want to be doing so much of a warm-up that you can't actually perform well when you're doing your heavy compound lifts. The second component of a good warm-up is that it moves your joints through their full range of motion. So if you're doing an upper body day, it moves your upper body joints through their full ranges of motion, and same thing for the lower body. So for the lower body, we're going to be focusing on the ankle, hip, and knee. But for some lifts like our squats, we might want to think about including some exercises for our spine, since we have to extend and hold the bar and twist and do different things. The third component of a good warm-up is that it has low dose loading in preparation for doing heavier lifts. So you want to sort of gradually be increasing the weight until you get to your working weight. And then again, we want that to be without being fatiguing. The main idea with this is that we just don't want to go from 0 to 100 really quickly and have, our muscles not really be prepared for it in between. The 2 things that you need to make sure that you're not doing during your warm-up is, one that I've already talked about is making sure that you're not fatiguing your muscles. So we still want to be warm and be ready and prepared without being too tired to perform our best on our heavy lifts. And the second thing is that we want to avoid doing static stretches. So any of the movements today that I'm going to be showing you, they are dynamic, which means that we're moving through the full range of motion. We're not holding a certain position. So static stretches we want to save for the end of the workout when we're doing our cool down. Dynamic stretches we want to save for the warm up. And again, there's just research to back this up that static stretches can be more harmful for causing injury as well as for reducing your performance during your lift. So we want to save those for the end. Okay, so here's what you guys all came for. This is the warm-up routine that I use when I'm doing my leg days. It's what I did this morning for my glute and hamstring day. And of course, there are other things that you can be including in, but these are just the things that I typically will do. So usually I'll start with 5 or 10 minutes of just increasing blood flow to the muscles that I'm going to be working out. So you just want to focus on doing light activity, something like going for a walk or rowing or getting on the elliptical stationary bike, doing the Stairmaster, just a few minutes just to get a light sweat going on. When I'm doing a lower body day, I typically will choose the options of treadmill or the bike or the Stairmaster, whereas upper body days I'll focus on more like rowing or the elliptical that has the involvement of my arms. Okay, so once we're feeling a little bit warmed up, we've done our 5 or 10 minutes of just light activity, then we're going to move on to some dynamic stretches. So again, we're going to focus on taking our joints through their full range of motion, so going all the way to the end in all directions, really stretching out those joints. And again, it's going to be dynamic, so we're not holding any of these positions. So the first thing that I typically do is I'll use the bar for support, but I'll do leg swings. So I'll make sure I do forwards and backwards, as well as including sort of a kicking motion. So I'm flexing at my knee and getting a big stretch through my quads. And then I'll also do leg swings side to side, again, getting my hip going in all different directions. Then I do some of these hip lifts where I'm just imagining that I'm stepping over a big hurdle and just taking my hip all through those ranges. And I tend to have very clicky hips, like my hips just click and pop and do all kinds of weird stuff. So I really feel it when I do these, so I really need to make sure that I'm warming up my hips properly. I make sure that I focus on my ankles as well, so I'll get into a deep squat and just do some sort of like side to side and forward back rocks so that I'm getting a big stretch through my calf muscles. Then usually I stand up and I do just a few calf raises before I set up for my squats. So I'll do a few body weight squats first, then I'll do a few squats just with the bar, so just low level weight. And again, sometimes I'll sit down in the bottom of the squat with the bar on my back just to get even deeper stretch through my calf muscles. And then I'll put my really low weight on, so I'll usually just do like 5 kilos on either side. and do a few squats with that, and then I can work my way up to my working weight. Some other things that you might want to include with this type of warm-up is you can do some like scorpions to really stretch out your hip flexors and your quads, or you can do some 90-90s, again for warming up your hips. And then sometimes I'll typically do some thoracic extensions and rotations just to warm up my upper back so that I have better range of motion when I'm stacking the bar on my shoulders. And then yeah, lastly is I work my way up to my working weight. So like I said, I start with my body weight squats, then I do just the bar, then I'll do the bar with just a little bit of weight and work my way up to my working set. Sometimes I won't even add extra weight on the barbell. I'll just use that as my warm up, and then I'll go to the machines and do different exercises there. All right, and that's it. So typically this will only take you somewhere between like 10-ish minutes. Sometimes if I'm feeling like I'm in a bit of a rush, I'll skip the first 5 to 10 minutes on the treadmill, and I'll just make sure that I'm, park farther away in the car park so that I have to walk into the building. And then I'll spend just like a few extra minutes doing some of my leg swings just to get the blood flowing. But yeah, it really shouldn't take a whole lot of time to get going in your warm-up. All right, that's it for today's video. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. I'm uploading a new video every 3 days. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.